very warm welcome to Tuesday's marketing webinar. You know, we've been here for nearly 50 weeks. We're going to celebrate the 1-year anniversary soon. So very warm welcome, all about online advertising. And as I say every week, the slide is familiar for you all. We are recording this, so it'll appear on YouTube. Later, you'll get a copy of the slides as well as a copy of the link to the recording. As always, for any business based in the Humber region, there is funded marketing support if you wish to avail yourself of that. And if you wish to say something on social media, you'll see the relevant hashtag and the relevant @ sign. So, you know, before I've had a busy morning. Talking to my neighbour earlier, I said to him, is there a B&Q in New York? He said, no, of course not. It's Y-O-R-K. But my brother rang me up. Oh, he's so pessimistic. You know, if there were an Olympics for pessimism, he wouldn't fancy his chances. He said to me, what do you do? What do you do? You know, with the webinar, he said, you know, do you do it in such a way where you always leave people wanting more? I said, yeah, it's a bit like our uncle. Our uncle the same. He always was leaving people wanting more. Well, unfortunately, he worked in disaster relief, so he lost his job. Anyway, that's this tomfoolery. Let's move along. You know, for those of you who are new, you've got the excitement to look forward to of a quiz. Hey! It's quiz time. Here it comes. Now, today's quiz, we always have a bit of light relief on a Tuesday. It is here. All about on. Come on, Carl, it wasn't bad. Which one didn't you like? Anyway, we all do an online little quiz. And today, we're all talking about advertising. So, it's name that advert. Pens are ready. Now, I've got to apologise. Before we start, I've got to apologise. If you're under 40, this might be a bit tough. But don't worry about that. You just have to guess the product. Oh, there we are. Famous, these are all television adverts. So who's on a chat line wanting to answer that? Oh, Kevin's on it, Debbie's on it. Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is Hovis. Yeah. The guy on that advert, he was a bit destitute. He appeared in the advert because he needed the dough. Honestly, goodness gracious, what's up next? Right. What advert is that? Oh, it is. It is indeed. I tell you what, you know, Sal is the pub quiz champion. It is none other. Well, where's the little button gone? Here we go. Yes. Yellow Pages. J.R. Hartley. Let your fingers do the walking. Remember the good old days of Yellow Pages? Now, what about that? Who can remember that advert? Which product is that? On the chat line, what have we got here? Oh. Yes, it is. It is. Sal, you're on it today. None other than Levi Jeans. And all these adverts had a great impact on their products because, you know, and goodness gracious, became part of culture. We're talking about them 2 years on now. How about that one? Oh, rest in peace. That was a bit subtle, that one. But never mind. Anyone remember that advert? Oh, we've got one. Who's going to get this? Oh, goodness gracious. You can't. It was, well, not quite. With none other than Dame Joan Collins. Every advert ended where Leonard Rossiter spilled a drink on Joan. All right then, keeping up that theme. What advert's that? What product is that? Yes, half a point, I'm afraid, for Martini. What advert is that? What product do we have there? What have we got today? Yeah, Michelle. We knew. Rely on you. There we go. Tango. Yeah, Tango. And now a bit more modern day. What do we have there? What do we have there? Anything to we do, yeah. It's Go Compare, car insurance, yeah. So we have it there. So we've got Go Compare. What's up next? Oh, now this is a bit more tricky. What? It's also old. These are all old because I'm old. What advert's that then? Which product is that? Online advertising. Oh, I caught you out. No one for that one. Well, let's move on. A lot to cover. BT. Maureen Lipman. That was agony for her. Now, controversial moment in today's webinar. Controversial moment. Adverts that are no longer politically correct. Yes, must point that out. Anyone who remembers these? PG tips. Shows you how anachronistic they are. So thankfully we've moved on from those days, but yes, a very famous series of adverts, or infamous as the case may be. Now, this is my banker that I thought nobody would get this advert here. On advertising, any takers for that? Nobody's going to get it right. Gosh, there's always somebody, isn't there? Well done, Olivia. Well done. Hastings Direct. Well, right, come on then. Let's see if we can get this one. One of my favourites from yesteryear. No, I'm going to go for this one. Anyone going to go for this one? Come on. Right, going. Oh, there's an answer in. There's an answer in. Yes, well done, Kevin. It was, yeah. Who else has answered that one? Ian's got it as well. Yes, it was Hamlet. Yeah, I was barred from doing any Shakespeare jokes because I know it's As You Like It. So yes, Hamlet. Actually, this morning I was thinking about that because I was trying to decide which pencil to write with. I didn't know if it was to be or not to be. Oh dear, honestly. Yeah, I've been rehearsing this. Right, final one before we have to move on from this levity. What have we got here? What adverts that? Yeah. Oh, Michelle, Sal, Debbie. Gosh, it wasn't very nice, was it? But it did the job, and a very famous series of adverts. Smash. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you've seen, if you watched TV in the 70s and 80s, you are on it. So, yes, now it's true. Many things have actually had a bit of a resurgence as that. So let's move on. Now, online advertising. Let's get to the main event. Ooh, let's have a little look. Yeah, just there I am in the window. Yeah, I'm the one looking out the window in the office. Let's talk all about online advertising. And gosh, the morning after, the night before. There we go. So this is not Simon being political. This actually, just got a bit of a sidebar here. I actually rang up I do business in North America, and I rang up a couple of people yesterday and asked them what they thought about their perspective on the famous interview. It was really interesting to get some insight from America. They were highly critical of Oprah. And that's what they told me. Yeah, pushing a political agenda was what I was told. So there we go. Slightly different, a view from over the pond. Anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. The morning after the night before. Here's the question: how much did it cost to have a 30-second advert on CBS on Sunday night for those 17 million American viewers? What was the cost of an advert? Anybody in the chat line fancy that? Yeah. Cost of advertising, the second highest behind the Super Bowl. Any takers before we move on to the answer? We have a guest. We have a guest coming in. $1 million. Well, it shows you not that no $1 million. I think the interviewee's got 7 million for the advert, the interview. But let's move on. Advertisers had to pay $325,000 for 30 seconds. Who said television advertising was dead? You probably find there's more money spent on television advertising than there is on online or digital advertising. But less of television today. It's question time. Have you ever double tapped on an image on Instagram, reacted to a video on Facebook, or clicked the search result in Google? Have you ever done those things? But then only to realize afterwards it was an ad. Yes, we have all. Actually, funny enough, I was actually searching on Google earlier. I typed in endangered species on Google. Gosh, the results were hard to find. So, there we are. Advertising, not always what it seems. So here, today, for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, we're going to talk all about how to advertise online. Now, before we start, there's often a thinking that there's a difference between online advertising and social media and content marketing, and the two things are not linked. Well, let's talk about this for a little while. So, social media largely is focused on communities, sharing content, engaging with the audience. Yeah, it was a very succinct summary. Then blogging and content marketing, the authors would optimize their efforts for organic search and to metrics like getting traffic into websites. So it may not necessarily fit. And you could argue that advertisers then are focused on performance, the cost per acquisition, and the return on spend. They are different. Well, let me just challenge that, thinking about how they run in harmony. So is there a difference? There we go. Can you remember the days pre-lockdown when we used to go to the market? Remember you used to go, for the sprouts. Yeah, I really cherish that moment going to the market, the old fruit stall. Yeah, them were the days. But nostalgia today. But anyway, let's move on. So organic and paid advertising work together. Think of them as brother and sister. I'll explain why. Organic, if you're doing things organically, in effect, content marketing, social media, i.e., not really putting your hand in your pocket, brand awareness can really help you. It's a bit like you may not click on them, but at the top of the first page of Google, you may become aware of them. It's a way of actually supporting your content marketing. And the great thing about online advertising is that you can analyze whether the advert has succeeded, probably better than you can with a lot of the content marketing. And the secret often then, you can create better content marketing if you're understanding what works in ad content, because you're ultimately social media, content marketing, and online advertising. You're all trying to do the same thing. Fight for people's eyeballs. There we go. Now, the thing is here is to think that your goal, if you're going to open up the piggy bank, is to think about return on investment. Return on investment. As my dad used to say to me, lad, if you can't measure, you can't manage. Yeah. It's all about knowing. So it doesn't matter if you're spending £10 or £100 or even £1,000. Have you got a return on investment? So I'll now talk about auctions. That's one of the major issues that crops up, and many of you will think about, oh God, who these lot are? I think that guy on the left, on the left comes from Dublin. So all about auctions online, a bit of a sort of take you through some of the very basics in terms of what you may think about when you're coming to, particularly on pay-per-click and other aspects. So making an online bid for advertising space, it's really thinking about the money you're willing to pay for a particular action to take place. You're spending a certain amount and thinking then that ad networks have a limited amount of advertising space, and then deciding then whether your ads will be shown to your audience. So that is where you think of it. So here's the big question. You bid £10 for a click on your ad. So you're going to put an ad on Google, and you're going to bid £10 for those words. And I'll come on to that in a minute. And the next highest bidder only is bidding £5. Have their space on the top of Google there. Right. Question. How much would you pay? You bid £10. The next best bid is £5. Anyone want to have an answer this one on the chat line? Let's look. Any answer? Any questions? You bid 10, the next highest bid is 5. How much would you pay for the ads? Any takers? Well, here comes the answer. Drum roll. Might surprise you. Here it comes. Well, here, hopefully it comes. Catering a little bit more excitement. Yeah, didn't expect that, did you? Every day is learning day. £5 and a penny. So it's not always the highest price bid for advertising space that works. As this next slide sees, the advertiser 1 is bidding, which is an American speak, $2, and a high quality score, and they'll get a ranking. And you can see that advertiser 4 is coughing up $8. With a poor quad score, gets an ad rank 1. So not necessarily the one who bids the highest will get the actual highest, the highest space in terms of ad ranking. Often it's about the quality of the advertisement. So it isn't just about money, it's also about the quality and the way things work. There we go. So hopefully a little insight into bids, and we'll come back to those a little later. Here's the big question. As Yorkshire folk, how much should I spend in order to see a return on investment? Always the big question. Here is the answer. The heavy slide, lifetime value, which henceforth will be known as LTV, times by the average lead customer rate, times by the average conversion rate. Now, you're sitting there thinking, hang on a second, this is a webinar, not a maths contest. I don't really understand all that. Can you explain it? He can. I explain, I'll put it in simple maths as the lifetime value is how much is a customer worth to you in money. So the value of that relationship, okay? The lead customer rate then is the rate at which your leads become paid customers. How much is it worth? The rate at which they become a customer, and the final bit, the conversion rate, is the rate in which they convert to the offers. So, got that? Let me explain it. So, you may think of an example might be the value to you is £500 of that customer. And you're likely, the lead customer, you may convert, may get 10%, and then actually converting them into customers will be 20%. Yeah. Actually, to get them on board. So with 500 and 10% lead customer rate, and then actually converting them into pound notes, 500, 10%, and 20%. What is the answer in terms of how much should you bid? Well, the answer, of course, as always, the answer to everything is 42. Actually, I'm just being slightly light. And as you probably know, the answer is blowing in the wind. But really, the answer is this. 500 times by 0.1 times by 0.2 equals £10. That's the value of the customer, the cost of the lead, the cost of the conversion. So you should then, applying that formula, you should think that your spend would be, if you're going to spend on pay-per-click, £10 a click to break even. And ideally, you want to be spending less than £10 to get a positive return. So your £500 is for acquire one customer. You think that you need to be getting that figure. Hopefully, that all makes sense. So, having known we've got what a return on investment is, and we know a little bit about bid, let's talk about different types of online advertising. So, social media advertising. Here it all is. Go through the different platforms and some of the pros and cons and whys and wherefores. You know, there is $8.5 billion spent on social media advertising a year. Big, big bucks. Enough for an instant sale. Actually, forgive that detour there. I thought I'd just talk about Nicholas Parsons just for a minute. Sorry if that's deviation. Actually, can you remember the programme? Remember the programme, The Sale of the Century? Look who was on it. Look who was on it. There he was. His first appearance on the right-hand side on national television. Yeah, there you go. Before they were famous. I'm just hesitating just for a moment. Right, so let's go back to the. I should go back to the. That was a slight detour. Social media advertising. The real benefit is that you can reach very specific audiences. There's some fantastic targeting features which we'll come on to, and you can look at all the different formats of advertising that aligns with your business goals, and which we'll explain in a moment. There's lots of different formats, and they get you leads. So investing there, you can generally measure the leads. Let's talk firstly about Facebook and Messenger. Now, the real biggest benefit in Simon World is that with Facebook, you have got fantastic information on the audience. You can create the criteria of interest, age, geography, etc. So the actual core audience information on Facebook is fabulous. And that you can simply get back in touch with people who've previously engaged with you, which will come on to retargeting in a mo. And Facebook also, within their advertising platform, have a lookalike audience. So for example, if you want to target a particular audience with all your followers, you can achieve that, but then Facebook can produce a lookalike audience that will meet the same criteria. It's a really powerful. Data is king. So the different ads in Facebook are usually photo ads, so you're sharing images, video ads, and then story ads, a combination thereof. But personally, there's a lot, obviously we only cover this quite quickly as a Facebook. I do like lead ads. And here's a classic example of, as you can see, often the key thing with Facebook is to show it, the magic word there is sponsored. But here is Jasper's Market. You know, you can see they've got a little video. Now you can subscribe to our delicious veggies, try our free sample box. There you've got the sign up. So it's just an advert that will appear within the Facebook feed of the audience that you're targeting. Now, the secret here, you can share content and generate leads at the same time. Absolutely critical is that people don't have to leave the platform. If you go back to the advert, really the algorithm works for most social media platforms is they don't want the user to leave. So you, particularly in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, which we all cover, we don't want the platform doesn't want you to leave. So anything you can do to keep people on the platform. So here, as in Jasper's Market, you've got the subscription and you've got the online startup. The lead ads work fantastically well in that regard, and they're not that expensive. Facebook advertising is probably the most affordable ways. So really what you want to think about if you're running lead ads in this situation, sign up for newsletter, price estimate, request additional information. So give them a reason, click, make it interesting, sign up for free veggies there from Jasper's Market. So that's a great way of doing it. And you've got a lead because you've got the name, address, etc. Who's that? Who's that? Does anyone know who that is? Well, gentleman is the architect of the word marathon. Philippides, I think he was. He ran 26 miles. There we go. What's that got to do with anything? Well, it's all. He was a contrived. He was a messenger, famous messenger. Had to run for the privilege, and there we go. Right, messenger apps. They're surprised, isn't it? You thought WhatsApp was king, didn't you? Well, not so. If you look carefully, you get a copy of this, but you can see where the variations are. You can see if you are communicating. I know the likes of Kevin on the call will be, in his activity in China, will be maybe advertising using WeChat. And if you want to do business elsewhere, you may want to think that you may in Australia, etc. You may think about using Messenger. Now, Messenger, as you well know, is a vehicle or part of Facebook. So you can actually run your ads or use part of your budget to do things within Facebook and the Messenger. You can call to action, sending messages out to your contacts within Facebook. You run story ads, and you can deliver content into chats. So you think if you're going to run adverts on Facebook, you may wish to sample doing the same thing in running on Messenger. Which brings us nicely round to retargeting. Retargeting is the principle that if you visit a particular website, that you will deposit cookies, and that then you may be retargeted. Or if you actually go sending a message to somebody through the likes of Messenger, you may well be then re-approached. In effect, the lead has gone from being cold to warm because they've already had a visit. So there we are. In this situation, quickly explain one thing. Someone visits your website to check out, they see ads for the products elsewhere, and then he caught your eye. Probably the most powerful way that a lot of online advertising takes place. You've all seen it. You go onto a cricket website to buy a cricket bat, and then you go back onto Facebook, and voila, what appears next? Cricket bat advert or cricket products. You can see it's so clever in the way that it operates. Brand building. And here is Jasper's Market again, but it's their retargeting, and they're using Messenger to retarget. They've had contact and they're going back to them. So you can use it in different ways. The best little tip I can give you is on the screen right now. If you're ever wanting to know about how to use retargeting on Facebook, just go onto facebook.com/business. There you can see all the answers there, how to create a retargeting campaign. So I think a great thing to do. Then there's also, the same applies across a lot of the other social media platforms. One of the best tips I can ever offer you, quite a strong statement that, is to go onto the likes of facebook.com, instagram.com, etc. And there's so much help. I'll give you all my secrets now. So much help there. So let's move on. Instagram. One tip there is you may wish to, you can promote posts and stories from your Instagram account, create ads from your Facebook page and your ads manager. Because Facebook and Instagram are brother and sister linked together, you could be setting up ads on Facebook, linking them to the likes of your Instagram account. Two accounts that come together, and you can run them that way. One of the best ways in which to run Instagram is obviously on the Explore button. So you're putting your name in front of the audience. Oh, look, Jasper's Kitchen's appeared again. So there we are in Instagram. In the Explore feature, you've got the advert for Jasper's Kitchen, and then you have others appearing. So the beauty again here is this principle about retargeting may well apply. So often, I did it the other day when I was helping my parents, they're moving house. I went on to Purplebricks, did a little bit of research there, and what happened? Next minute, a Purplebricks advert appeared in my Instagram feed. So it's well worth using that. Don't always have to use it for retargeting, but you can also use Instagram for your advertising. Again, the same rules apply. You want people to stay on the platform. So in a particularly with a shopping post, you can tag products, and if you click on the tags, it sends you to a product page. Again, you don't have to leave Instagram, as is seen here. With Revolve, this advert here, you can see that there's a tag there, and for this particular thing, you click the mini skirt or the top, and it goes through to the product page. So the beauty about doing this, again, it's back to the principle of not leaving, but again, you are using the tools around you, and it is very affordable if your client on Instagram. So Facebook, Messenger, Instagram. What's next? Well, a Microsoft product, the LinkedIn. LinkedIn is fantastic in the same way as Facebook. You can target people, customers, by lots of different ways. Demographics, job title, etc. Very carefully target. And you can create lead forms in ads. Same principles apply. Please, when you're running ads, you don't want people to be leaving the platform. How I'd use it, I would use message ads. Targeted messages, the call to action, better than emails, and you can see if it's worked, as you see here. Those of you who are on LinkedIn may see situations occur like this. So Aaron Jones is messaging sponsored message, and it's targeting to his people. So for example, if you are wanting to, you're a manufacturer of, let's say, safety boots, you may wish to be sending messages out to distributors of personal protective equipment or major consumers, and you can identify those, and there's a message in there. It's worth experimenting with, but I can hear you cry. It also may be perceived to be spam. So pick your audience, don't browbeat them, but well worth always, you can see if it succeeded or not. So LinkedIn becomes next Twitter. Here is a classic thing that with, again, you can use your existing tweets to be boosted, but again, great way to promote, again, fairly affordably. So it really is about awareness. So you can promote your tweets, you can promote to get more retweets, promote your account, get more clicks. They're the main goals behind it. So in effect, you're tweeting to reach a wider audience, much in the same way as you are with the other platforms, apart from LinkedIn, where it's very, very laser targeted. So again, worth experimenting to see if you're getting the clicks from your Twitter ads. Next up on social media is YouTube. Ads appear before and during videos, and you can even have promoted video. Again, it can all be very closely targeted. Some of you may find them a little irritating. So there's an industry itself developed to stop adverts, but again, you can target them with demographics. If you're aiming for a very specific audience, you can serve them videos to meet them. If your audience is there, again, it's a very effective way to reach. As you can see here, in this situation, this extreme sport, the running an ad there prior to something else starting, and again, you click through. Very powerful, and always you can see if it works. A quick shout out to always mention this TikTok. Now, it is about brand awareness, and you don't, with TikTok, not hyperlinks to post it, all about brand awareness rather than leads or traffic. There's all the other platforms I've mentioned on social media. But worth, again, if you're in the brand arena, very powerful way, brand awareness. If your audience is on TikTok, probably that it's not as well developed as the other platforms. So that was a whistle-stop tour through the world of social media advertising. Now, let's talk about paid search, which many of you may associate with Google. Why should you advertise? Well, the answers are there on the screen. It is estimated that you'll make, if it's done properly, you'll make £8 for every pound you spend. And the key thing when you're doing this is about advertising is all about differentiating yourself from the competition. And we talk about branded and non-branded advertising. And you appear on the top of the page, which often is seen the best way. And you can measure the success. It is going right to a specific audience. So, how does Google know how to deliver the right ad to the right person? You're going to spend a few pennies with Google. How does it do it? The answer is not blowing in the wind. It's all about key words. What are people searching for? Who remembers that? We were a bit retro today, aren't we? Imagine you're Mary, and your friends, and you're moving house. Google is really built on looking for your intent. Took me ages to get that joke together. Intent. Google is thinking about your search intent. So, Mary may well type in this phrase: who are the best movers? That's not Anton de Beck kind of question. Who are the best movers? And you can see that the search terms come up. And this is the power of, with keywords, is often trying to match up with classic search intent. So you may choose to make your keywords associated with what people are looking for, especially with the growth of Siri, Alexa, et al. In voice search. So you may want to think about, firstly, paid advertising, thinking about local searches. So this is San Francisco, where I left my heart. And if you're going there, don't forget to wear flowers in your hair. And there you are. Google My Business. Possible to looking for coffee in there. You can advertise to appear in the local searches, to be high up there. So obviously it ties in very well with the likes of Google Maps. So think about if you are a local business, foot traffic in those days, post June, whatever, where we're all allowed in. So thinking about you may do something, and if you want, back to market again here, and if you want people actually to think about buying something in this situation, then you'll be spending money to appear in Google Shopping at the top of the list. So it's looking at local search and the investment. You may be drawn to sponsored ads at the very top. As I mentioned earlier, to try and match up with people's search, you may need a combination of your brand and non-branded keywords. I'll explain. Here is an example of a business that's supplying CRM systems, but they're combining their CRM with potential non-branded words. People aren't just searching for the company, as in this case, HubSpot. They're also searching for things like inbound marketing, software, customer relationship management. People often don't search for a brand, they search also for non-branded things like looking for movers, looking for removal companies. But ideally, you want to be in a situation where you're combining non-branded words with branded words, and it makes you higher up or protects your brand from competitors' ads. So there are other businesses providing CRM systems in the same way that HubSpot was. And how you get your listing higher up is to combine the brand and the non-branded words. You are vulnerable to other people pinching your space. You must do that. There's lots of examples on the net if you look really carefully at the ads at the top. So non-branded words and branded words will get you additional traffic. Just going to go through some of the key things when you're actually putting together keywords within your ad. You might wish to think about an exact match where the keywords are set to an exact match that you want. Alternatively, you may wish to go for a phrase. So they're putting it in inverted commas. Or actually add a brand match modifier. So you're adding a plus sign to your keywords, alternatively a minus sign to keywords. You can be really specific by wanting people to search for a very specific phrase, so words, specific phrase, and another word, or minus another word. So you determine what traffic arrives with you. And here in this situation, most businesses will plump for Google. They get far greater traffic than the likes of Yahoo and Bing. But you may find you want to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. You think really carefully about if you're going to actually go to paid search, you can experiment with both platforms. So it's not always being a slave to Google. So a whistle-stop tour, we are through Google. We have covered it in previous webinars, thinking about keyword research. The final few minutes will be spent on what is known as native advertising. What is native advertising, I hear you ask? Well, there are websites out there, and I've put a couple of names up on the screen, BuzzFeed and the Dodo. They produce content, and many of you may be in industries where there are particular organizations producing content all the time. So there'll be sites in which you visit, often forums. And brands pay money to advertise on these native forums. The flip side also applies in that many of these forums or sites like this may pay people, publishers, to distribute their content. So you've got these places to look that may be specific to your industry. Here is an example. You've got physical health on a particular site, and you can see often it appears there. So you may go on to the likes of maybe a newspaper website or a particular forum where there's lots of information there, and voila, there's an advert you can see, or some promotion that fits in there with a particular platform. And that one is about fitness for Geico. But its key thing is to get there's a sort of relationship that exists between the publishers and the brands. And people tend to believe more of a brand if it's a brand's association. And in this situation here, with this workout, the actual platform it's on, they will construct the advertisement so it fits in with the theme of the brand and is in keeping with their brand. So it looks fairly seamless. And there's big trust. You've got strong things. Often you see it in lots of situations. You practically know if you advertise with put an advert in what was New York Times, you've got a perception that you are got trustworthiness, etc. Two places to check this out are Stack Adapt or Nativo. Have a look there, and you can see the kind of places and things you can do to actually position yourself for native advertising on a particular platform that may be very specific to your sector or your industry. Whereas you can appreciate with Google, slightly different beast. The final thing to talk about is display advertising. Told it as a comprehensive guide. What is display advertising? Well, it's what is relevant to you, what you want to say, and what customers are interested in. It's all about relevance. Google Display and the Facebook audience are here. Google Display ads, I'll give you some examples. Often you'll see it as banners. So you've got appears at the top of a search page on a website is a banner. And here with this HR one, you'll click there through something else. So the banner is appearing on the website, and here is today on the CNN website at the very top is a banner advert for Bellroy. Click now. So display advertising is two ways of promoting yourself with Google. One is to try and be on the first page, pay-per-click, etc. Here is for to appear on specific websites and to be displayed. Operate on a similar principle of a bid and an auction. But you could let Google do it for you. You can spend your money with them, and they can do automated targeting and bidding, get you the best return investment. So it's not dissimilar to the Facebook kind of scenario in a not dissimilar way. A lookalike audience, let them spend the money for you and position your ads in particular places. I think the Google display ad goes to at least 2 million websites. So the display network and it also fits very well with the principles of retargeting. And brands use it. Native ads, mentioned, but we've seen already. Banner ads, you also can run full screen ads, video ads, in-stream video. This all applies very much Facebook. So you can if you're running display advertising on Facebook, Facebook will know the websites that its customers are on. it provides content to the websites that your Facebook users visit in lots of different ways, as is seen here. You can see that this particular organization is running a game, and then there's an advert appears, and they generate activity through video and even provide rewards. So video advertising, gaming advertising is probably one of the biggest ways in which brands are moving. So don't forget, the final thing on today's webinar is listen here. I wish I could do impressions. Great managers measure their success. You're thinking all the time about your return on investment, your budget, and using Google Analytics, Twitter Analytics, all the different tools to measure whether it's been a success or not. There are incentives aplenty, particularly on Google, to spend money on advertising, and you can see if it works, and it will fit well with content marketing and some of the social media we've spoken about. So, thank you very much for attending today. I hope that has been you'll get a copy of the slides, you get a copy recording, we covered it. It always was intended to be a comprehensive guide in an hour, 3/4 an hour, also all the things you can do on online advertising. So, if you'd like to revisit us on a Tuesday, what's coming up next? Well, next week we're going to be, it's all about LinkedIn. We're going to be talking about Google Analytics. We're going to be talking about marketing videos. We're talking about sales skills, and there's PR and lots of different things on a Tuesday afternoon. If you'd like to revisit at some stage, we're delighted to have you on board. I'm going to stop sharing, and if anybody's got any questions, I'll do my level best to answer them. Oh, what's in the chat line? Oh, there we go. Little beep. Well, Sal's had to go, so thank you from Gary, Olivia, Debbie. Well, I hope you found it beneficial. If you have any, I will hang around here for the next few minutes if anyone has any specific questions. But if not, you'll look out your inbox tonight. There'll be something arriving. Well, if not, without further ado, I wish you a pleasant afternoon and see you next time. Same time, same back channel.